Right, hopefully everyone can hear me. That's a little bit of a hard act to follow and maybe not quite as exciting, but I'm here to talk about the recent launch of Shoppable Recipes with Tasty. And specifically what I'm going to touch on is how to deepen and scale an affiliate business. So affiliate is a bit of a nuanced space, as I'm sure a lot of you know. There's a lot of skepticism around whether or not it can become a meaningful business for content publishers and for advertisers. There's this historical kind of mindset that affiliate is really a channel that doesn't necessarily drive incrementality, it's more passive. It's something that they typically work with cashback and coupon sites on. But at Buzzfeed, affiliate is increasingly becoming a meaningful part of our business. In the past 3 years since 2016, we've seen a 10x growth in our affiliate business. What that means for us typically is some of the shopping content that you might see that are product roundups or product reviews, where we're featuring a product, linking to a retailer, and when a consumer purchases, we earn a commission on that sale. Part of why we're seeing that success is what affiliate unveils for us is new data points around what our consumers are not only reading, but what retailers are actually clicking on and what they're purchasing. And we use that data to then drive our content strategy. And from that, we've essentially developed a content team who's focused on creating shopping content that continues to move sales for a lot of our partners. So this year we're really focused on what is Affiliate 2.0. Again, historically for us, it has been a lot of those shopping content roundups. So we took a look at our portfolio. So we have a huge portfolio of brands that focus on specific niche verticals. The biggest one being Tasty, which some people don't realize is actually a Buzzfeed brand. Goodful is our health and wellness brand. Bring Me is our travel brand. A lot of these verticals live on Facebook and are kind of Facebook-first properties that have now expanded to be O&O properties. So the one that we really thought was the big opportunity was Tasty. Many of you know it. It's kind of the top-down recipe videos that you see on Facebook. We currently have 2.1 billion monthly views across our Tasty platforms. Two out of 3 of our Tasty users are actually making a Tasty recipe at home, and we're currently the #1 content publisher on Facebook. So we knew there was a big opportunity here to capitalize on what we own in the cooking space to drive affiliate and commerce for one of our big partners. So this is what kicked off the idea of Shoppable Recipes, which are now live. They launched back September 1st. It's been kind of in the market for about 2 months now. And we decided to do this in partnership with Walmart. So the question might be, why Walmart? As you may know, Walmart is one of the largest grocers in the United States. They currently have 3,100 nationwide stores that offer pickup. So that means you can actually order online, drive to a Walmart, and pick up your groceries curbside. And we also conducted a survey with our Tasty users and found that 54% of our users, when shopping in-store, have a preference towards Walmart. And we already have an existing relationship with Walmart, so we have a huge line of Tasty licensed products that are currently sold at Walmart, specifically 125 cookware SKUs. We're also expanding that to do spice blends, cookbooks, cake decor kits, so there already is an existing footprint of Tasty products within Walmart stores. And then the question became, why Shoppable Recipes? Obviously, again, we do these kind of shopping posts that are us featuring a product, driving to a retailer where there's purchase. With Tasty, currently, there's kind of a limitation as to what we can drive. There was the obvious opportunity of maybe doing cooking roundups or kind of roundups of what are essentials to have in your kitchen and then drive to a grocer like Walmart to actually make those purchases. But we thought there was something kind of more natural where we could actually embed a commerce opportunity directly in the recipes. So we also wanted to ensure that kind of the instinct that we had was something that was truly there and something that there was an appetite for from our audience. And in the research that we conducted, we found that 70% of our users have actually made a Tasty recipe in the past year. So not only is our audience kind of passively using Tasty for entertainment, they're actually using it in an actionable way to make these recipes. We also found that 3 in 5 of our Tasty app users use the app at least once a week, which to us had a signal that maybe users are actually using the recipes to determine what to make or what ingredients to buy when they're grocery shopping for the week. And we also found that 83% of our users are using the app for cooking inspiration. And we found that their top motivators for using Tasty recipes is the easy-to-follow instructions and ease of making a recipe at home. So we wanted to figure out how can we make that experience even more seamless. So our partnership goals, when we were kind of launching this Affiliate 2.0, was really to respond to audience signals, to partner with one of the largest grocers, and to understand our user behavior around grocery shopping and meal planning. And the important thing here was this is not kind of an easy integration to implement. What we needed to do essentially was figure out a way for us to scan a recipe page, identify what ingredients are on that page, map them to SKUs available at Walmart, and then you also have to take into account kind of the geo factors of every Walmart location across the nation will have different inventory availability. So there was a lot of components that went into figuring out how to actually make this magic happen. So our partnership roadmap, there is a lot of steps that went into actually making this happen. We probably kicked off this partnership. The conversations really started last year. It was kind of this vision that we had. We've been working with Walmart for a long time. We know we saw this as a big opportunity, but it really took multiple months for us to really identify how this was something that we could bring to market. So there was the initial kind of process of aligning our KPIs. Again, this is very different for both sides of our business. Walmart is not really a content player, and Tasty is not a direct-to-consumer retailer. So for us to partner together in a way that really kind of embeds both of our companies, we really had to align our KPIs. We also needed to do a data deep dive on both sides of our business to understand what the Tasty audience is doing when they're actually using the Tasty app to decide what to buy, and what Walmart grocery shoppers are needing in their grocery shopping process that Tasty can help make easier. So for Tasty, this is, again, we had to start thinking like a retailer. And what that means is we need to identify our target market. Obviously, as Tasty, we know who our audience is and what they typically come to Tasty for, and that's, again, to watch entertaining recipe making videos. But for us to kind of take a stance and say that you're coming to our app to actually grocery shop, that's a very different kind of vision for what we're offering our audience, and we have to identify what segment of the Tasty audience are we really targeting. We also wanted to develop customer personas, so we needed to identify who of the Tasty audience and who of the Walmart audience would actually be coming to us to grocery shop and meal plan using recipes. So for Walmart, their important target audience was the time-starved mom. So if we're kind of looking to that audience, it sounds kind of complicated to say this time-starved mom is realistically going to go to the Tasty app, find a recipe, essentially then add those recipes to her cart, then go to a Walmart to pick it up. There were so many kind of barriers to making this actually happen. So we had to make sure that we're keeping in mind who the target audience is and making an experience on our site that is truly frictionless and can drive the consumer to easily make a purchase. As I said, that frictionless experience is important for both sides. And again, it's important to define your value proposition. Again, for us, this seems innovative, it's cool, we're doing something that's kind of PR worthy, but is it actually of value to the audience, and what is that value proposition? I think that's something that commonly retailers think about when they're developing their brand and identifying what assortment they want to offer their audiences. But media companies don't typically think that way. It's more about viewability, it's about creating content that builds your audience. We're actually not only asking our audience to read Tasty recipes, we're asking them to take an action and essentially trust that we're creating an experience for them that is going to be frictionless and make grocery shopping easier for them. And then again, we have to essentially rethink how we're marketing Tasty. People don't think of Tasty as a place where you can shop for your recipes. So there's essentially a brand awareness play that we now have to develop to educate our audience about this new experience and to actually get them into the app shopping groceries and looking at recipes in this way. So in order to make this happen, as I said, there's multiple players involved. We partnered with a company called North Fork. They're based in Sweden, and they're one of the biggest, they're essentially the connective tissue between Buzzfeed and Walmart that enables what I was talking about earlier of looking at a recipe, identifying the ingredients on the page, and mapping it to SKUs available at Walmart, and being able to do that essentially with geo-targeting capabilities. So you can actually see this experience live in the app today. Kind of what the experience looks like for the consumer is if you're on Facebook, you're seeing a Tasty recipe. What we're doing is we have a call to action that drives into the app in order to shop the recipe. Once you're in the recipe, you essentially put in your zip code is how we're identifying where the user is, or we can, if you enable your location services, that's another way we can find the Walmart closest to you. You essentially add a Tasty recipe into your grocery bag. Once you're there, we have the ability for you to swap certain ingredients. So if we're surfacing eggs and you actually want organic eggs, you can do that directly through the app. We also found that oftentimes a lot of our consumers already have a lot of pantry items, so it doesn't necessarily make sense for us to constantly kind of push olive oil or salt or pepper. So we actually have a separate section within the app where you can add a pantry item so it's not automatically added. And we can also do things like increase or decrease the serving size. When we first launched the partnership, kind of the phase one was also providing nutritional information because we wanted to, again, provide as much value as we could directly within the app. Once you've kind of built your grocery bag within the Tasty cart, it then drives you directly into a pre-populated Walmart bag, and that's where you can seamlessly check out and then pick up your groceries in store. And for the Walmart locations where delivery is available, there's also the option for delivery. So the exciting thing about this is obviously this partnership kind of is a child of data. We saw the signals both from a qualitative and quantitative standpoint, and we decided that this was a big opportunity we wanted to pursue. But now that we have this integration live, we're starting to access even a new layer of data that can actually help us grow the Tasty brand beyond the Shoppable Recipes integration. So we now are able to identify certain behaviors within the app that are giving us new signals as to how our audience is interacting with Tasty. A really interesting finding for us is when we were first working with Walmart, they were very adamant that the big grocery shopping day for their consumers is Friday. Kind of the mentality there is that people, after a long week of work, go to the grocery store, buy their groceries for the week, and they're kind of making meals at home over the weekend. The Tasty audience strongly believe that most millennials are buying their groceries on Sunday, which as a New Yorker, that is incredibly true. I don't know if it is in other markets. And the funny thing is we're finding that on Sundays, we sometimes see like a 2x spike in grocery sales, so very much we're seeing that behavior happen with our audience. What's interesting for us to watch is as more and more Walmart consumers start downloading the app, whether those shopping behaviors will start to shift. And as part of this partnership, we're marketing the app both through our own channels and through the Walmart channel, so we do foresee kind of the demographics of the Tasty audience shifting over time. We also think there's a huge opportunity here for CPG partners. We're now, again, seeing Tasty audiences interact with our recipes on a whole new level. This is a big opportunity if we're starting to see that chicken sales are kind of the big SKU or the main SKU that we're driving through the app. Is there an opportunity for us to partner with Purdue or Tyson in a really big and interesting way? We also are, again, starting to get signals around not only what our audience is looking at from an entertainment standpoint, but actually from a utility standpoint, which allows us to develop new content strategies. Something interesting that we've recently learned is things like those massive cookie recipes that you see sometimes through Tasty videos. They get a ton of engagement, but we're not seeing anyone actually take action to purchase those products. So we're starting to see that there's kind of a difference between entertainment and utility and what causes our audience to take action. And lastly, we do see a big opportunity to further enhance this experience through merchandising and personalization. So currently, if you enter the Tasty app, there's no sense of us kind of changing what products we're surfacing based on what recipes you're purchasing. But we do see a future where there's a much more personalized experience within the app, and for us to even kind of go down the path of doing things like weekly meal planning or surfacing recipes based on your dietary preferences. It's kind of the sky's the limit, but we really want to be thoughtful about when we're building something, it being based on data and signals and where we see the big opportunity for our audience. So lastly, to give you some numbers, like I said, this has now been live for almost 2 months at this point. We're seeing a 24% click-through rate from the Tasty app to Walmart grocery. The numbers have been pretty astounding for even our teams. Kind of to the question earlier of how do you get internal teams to support a project that feels very different than kind of what the core function of a media company might be. There was a little bit of skepticism that people would actually use the Tasty app in this way. But like I said, 24% of our audience is actually clicking through from the shopping cart to Walmart. Once they get to Walmart, we're seeing an 11% conversion rate. For those of you who know retail, that number is extremely high, which is, again, I think what we've been able to do and what we've cracked is we're driving someone with really high intent from our ecosystem into the into the Walmart grocery cart. We're also seeing that our audience is buying 2.2 recipes on average, which we find to be really interesting and a signal that our audience is kind of using this new feature to meal plan for the week. And we're also already seeing a 35% re-engagement rate. So that means someone who used this feature the first time is actually coming back to use it again. Again, that number may shift over time, especially as the feature is live in the app, but it's really exciting to see that our audience is clearly having a positive experience and coming back to do it again. So, thank you.
Nilla, that was great. I want to bring the panel on product development up to join Nilla, but as they do, let me ask Tim and the panel to come up. But does anybody have any questions right away for Nilla? Yeah.
Hey, what did Walmart do to promote this partnership on their own channels, or how did you go about navigating that promotion within such a big, beefy company?
Yeah, so currently we actually have a curbside mailer that's going to be put into all grocery bags in October and in November. Kind of all, like, it was an idea that Walmart came to us about. They see this as a big opportunity for them, again, to play in the content space in a big way and for it to be a new kind of value add for their audience. So they've been marketing it aggressively through their own channels, through their on-site channels, through their social channels, and again, we're even kind of getting promotion through their physical stores. It sounds like it might be a hard conversation to have, but it actually hasn't been. They really see this as a partnership that they're working with us in lockstep. So it's been I think we wouldn't really go into the partnership without knowing that we'd have that sort of support from the Walmart side as well.
I have a question about ensuring that you are satisfying user need as opposed to revenue need. The temptation here, as it is with all affiliate marketing, but especially here, is you could optimize your content to promote essentially on conversion as opposed to user need. So what sort of internal safeguards are you putting in place or internal metrics to ensure that this isn't being driven simply by content isn't being prioritized simply by its ability to sell goods?
So I think the interesting thing about affiliate is it's a kind of self-policing model. I would say conversion and serving the needs of the consumer are one and the same. If we're pushing something that isn't natural to the audience or that isn't servicing the audience, they're not going to buy anything or convert, and that'll be the death of the partnership. So what we're building has to serve the consumer need. As a media company, it's relatively easy, quote unquote, to get traffic to content or to get essentially impressions or views, but it's much more challenging to get someone to actually take action and convert. So if we're not building the right experience, that conversion won't exist. So we're essentially kind of forced to build something that actually services the audience. And again, how we ensure that we're doing that is by listening to audience signals and just looking at the data. So ultimately, yes, conversion is the driver of our strategy because that's how we can make this a sustainable business. But conversion ultimately means that the audience is liking what we're building and we need to lean into what the audience wants.
Nilla, thank you very much. This was great.